plane, or the Cartesian grid. It's also the coordinate grid. You can say grid or plane. And this is the second video we're doing. So let's look at the grid itself. Okay. Remember, we have 4 quadrants. There's 4 sections called quadrants. This is the first quadrant, right? So let me write that down as it fell. There we go. So this is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. Quadrant 3. And guess where quadrant 4 is? Exactly. There we go. So there's our 4 quadrants. And it goes counterclockwise, as you can see. Counterclockwise. So we plot points on the grid the same way we would do Battleship. You must remember Battleship, the game. And X and Y, this is the X-axis and this is the Y-axis. So again, I'll write up here, this is the X-axis. That's what they call it, the X-axis. This whole line is the X-axis. And this line going vertically is the Y. It's the Y-axis. So if I wanted to plot a point, let's say here's a point right there, we'll call that A. Well, if I want to know where A is on the grid, what are its pairs? And X comes first, so you have to first look where it lines up with the X. Where do you think it lines up with the X? What do you think? So if this is 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. It's right on the 5. So the first point, we can put in parentheses, is 5 because the X comes first. Anything on the X comes first. Now we want to know how far up it is in the Y. This is the Y, right? So we know it's on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5, 5. That is the ordered pair. So that's a word you should know, and I'll write it over here. Ordered pair. Not ordered apple, ordered pair. Little joke there, right? That means you have an X and you have a Y. That's the pair. All right, so I'll put a point up, and you tell me what do you think is the ordered pair, or the points on the grid. So what about there? What would B be? What do you think? What would B be? So let's first get the X. Remember, there's 0, so it's 1, 2. It's 2 on the X. It lines right up with 2. So we'll put it over here. We'll say 2. And now we need the Y. Okay, well, from here you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 2, 9. That is the point. Okay, now you're going to answer these questions for me. You're going to say what this point is. So this is what you would put. This is your first question that you're going to hand in. We'll do it right here. What is C? So that's your first question. Don't email it. You're going to put it right in Google Classroom. And there'll be a sheet for that. So that's C. That's the first question. What is the point? Now right here, this point right here, bullseye right there, but at the X and Y intersect, that's the origin. That's called the origin. And the points are 0, 0. That's the origin. So if I had a point here, let's say right there, the X over here is 0, so anything over here would be negatives, right? So this point, let's label it D. What do you think D would be? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's not positive 4, it's negative 4. It's in the negative land. Again, everything from here on is positive. Remember, that's 0, just like a number line. So again, let's look at a number line so we understand it. Let me erase this. If I had a number line, this is horizontal. This, right, there's 0. There's 1. That's negative 1. There's 2. There's negative 2, right? The same way on the axis. And then the y is this way. There's 1, there's -1. There's 2, there's -2. And so on. So you got to get used to where the negatives are and where the positives are. So for D, it's at -4, and then it's right on the 0 line. It's right on the line of 0. -4, 0. Here's E. What's E? So let's do the x first. -1, -2, -3. Right on -3. So we're saying E is -3. And what about the y? Remember, x comes first. So we go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -3, +7. So here's your second question. Right there. There's your second question. We'll call it F. F is your second question. Tell me the pair. The ordered pair. Okay, so we had 2 questions already. Now I'm going to put a 1 right here. Right? We'll call that G. Where is G? What are the pairs for G? What do you think? Well, again, we're going to go with the x first. Remember, this is 0. -1, -2. So it's at -2. And now we need its y. So we're going down, right? We're not going up. So the y's are negative. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. -2, -7. Who thinks they know this one? Right, we'll call that H. What are the pairs for H? Again, x comes first, right? So let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Right up with the 11. So we know it's 11 for x. And what about the y? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5. So again, anything on below the x, just think of this as like the ocean, right? This is the surface of the water. This is below the ocean. This is above. Anything below the ocean is negative, right? On the y. You'll get used to it. Notice here in the first quadrant, it makes an L. And the L, if you can make an L, that's positive. Everything's positive. The x is positive, and the y is positive. And here's a symbol for positive. So let's show you a symbol for something that's positive. And we'll make our rough grid. This is just a rough grid. So everything here on the x, this is the x, this is the y, everything here is positive. That's the positive sign. You see these on batteries, right? And the negative sign would be like that, negative. But everything in the first quadrant is positive, positive. The x is positive, the y is positive. Now in the second quadrant, the x is negative, but the y is positive. Right? In the third quadrant, over here, we'll write 3. What do you think the x and the y are? Well, the x is negative, and so is the y. In the fourth quadrant, the x is positive, but the y is negative. You see that? Okay, let's make another grid. So on the grid, let's say that I have a map on this grid. By the way, which one's the x-axis? Who remembers? Right here, this is x, right? The whole thing is x. Got our arrows. And again, this is y. The whole thing is the y. From the pizza parlor to the house, what is the distance? You count the units. See all the units? All those boxes are units. do not count the first one, right? You count the second one. Because when you're born, the year you're born, you're not 1. The next year you're 1, right? So here's the pizza parlor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 units away. The pizza parlor is 7 units. Is it up or down? Down, right? It's 7 units down. Of course, if you were at the house, you would say it's 7 units up. Now, if I put, let's say we put something there, we say that's the gas station, right? How far is the gas station from the house? Now, you don't care about negatives right now. You just want to know how far in units. So count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's 9 units. Just put a 9 there. 9 units. And we know that was 7 units. So we know that the gas station is further away than the pizza parlor. Now, when you get in other grades, we can do things diagonally. Do not do something like this. We'll put a point way over here. From here to there, you can't count the boxes because it's diagonally. When you get in the higher grades, though, there's something you can do to get this answer. But for now, we're just going to concentrate on something that's vertically or horizontal. So here's the house, and let's say right here, way down here, this is another question for you to hand me. We'll call that the school. How far is the school from the house? That's your question. And you're going to hand that to me. Again, it's going to be on Google Classroom, the document, so don't email it. Okay. So here's a question. Here is, let's say right here, we have your friend's house, another house. Let's say you just put FH for your friend's house. And then over here we have the pool, the community pool, wherever your community pool is. How far is the gas station to your friend's house? And then from your friend's house to the pool? Well, from the gas station to your friend's house, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So far we have 4. And then from your friend's house to the pool, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right on that line. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So what is the total distance? 21, right? 17 plus 4 is 21. Now these could be miles, right? Could be 4 miles, could be yards. We don't know what they are. We're only calling them units because we're using the grid. Now, let's give you one more. What would this point be? Right here. What would that point be? Right on the line. What do you think? Let's call it J. Right? We're missing I. We didn't do I today. We'll just do J. Why not? Well, on the X, it's 0. It's right on the 0 for X. Here's the 0. It's right on the 0. And the Y, you go down. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 7. 0, negative 7. So be careful with that. All right. That's the coordinate grid, the Cartesian plane. And by the way, the person who created this, who lived a long time ago, in the Middle Ages, his name was René Descartes. And I think I showed you that on the last video. Anyway, great job.